Year 7s, hopefully you've had a look at the warm-up. Now let's have a look at what we're really focused on today, which is expanding brackets. So I've got a couple of questions here and I'm going to show you how to answer them, and then I want you to see if you can figure them out. We have question 1 says 2 outside of, in brackets, a plus k. This is how I would solve that. Do you think you can figure out what I did? I'll show you number 2. So I've answered number 1 and number 2, and I want you to think about what I've actually done. This first one, I had 2, and I multiplied it by a, that's this bit here, and then I kept the addition symbol that was in the middle, and I brought that down to the next line, and then I took the 2 again and multiplied it by the k, and that's the second bit. Some people like to think of this as the rainbow rule. You start outside the brackets and you use the rainbow to expand and multiply whatever's outside the brackets by each term inside the brackets. So again, in the second one, I did -3 times by 2m. That's the first bit. I kept that addition and I brought it down to the next line. And then I did -3 times +5. Which resulted in -15. So if you feel like, oh, that makes a little bit of sense, and you would like to pause the video and try number 3 and try number 4, then go for it. If you want to look at a couple more examples, that's fine too. All right, this one, I've done 8 times a, which will simplify to 8a. And you'll notice this time I've brought a minus down to the next line. That's because there was a minus in the middle of those brackets. So I have brought that down, and then I multiplied 8 times 4, which will be 32. So my simplified answer is going to be 8 times a is 8a minus 32. Then this last one, so we use our rainbow rule, or there's actually a fancy name for it, which I will teach you in a moment. First thing we do is 5x times 3x. Then, are we going to bring a minus down or a plus down? What do you think? That's right, if you said minus, well done. It will be a minus because that's what's in the brackets. And then we multiply 5x times 2. And when we simplify this one, this is why that warm-up was really critical, because if we can't do these skills, that's okay, but we need to go back and practice, or else we're not going to understand how to do this sort of stuff now. I always do numbers first, so I do 5 times 3 is 15, and then x times x. A lot of people think that's 2x, don't fall for my trap. It's x squared. If you thought about like 5 times 5, how would you write that with powers? You would write it with 5 squared. Alright, and then we've got 5 times 2 is 10, and then there's only 1x in that example. So this is known as, unofficially, the rainbow rule, but what it's actually called is the distributive law. Now if you think about someone distributing goods, they are sharing them or handing them out. So in this case, what we are doing is we have a number outside the bracket, and we are distributing that number through multiplication to each element inside the bracket. Okay, so we do a times b plus a times c in that example, or you can see in the second example there's a minus inside those brackets, so it ends up as a minus in the final response. Now I'm going to put up this last example, If you want to pause and have a go, you can. There's 3 elements, so it is a little bit trickier, but you do the exact same thing. You are going to multiply the first element outside the brackets, which is k, by every term inside the brackets. If you want to pause it and have a go, then that's awesome. If you don't, you just want to see like, what is this even going to look like? Let's think about it. It's going to be k times 4k. All right, then the next thing is going to be a plus because there's a plus there. K times 2a. Then next is going to come a minus, and then we do k times 5. So let's watch this and see how it looks. K times 4k. This is the first step. Then we do plus, because there's that plus in the middle. K times 2a. We distribute to the second term. Then minus k times 5. And now we're actually in a state where we just need to use our previous algebra skills. So that first step is the new idea for today. The second step is your previous algebra skills. So now we need to simplify this one here. K times 4 times k. Start with numbers. There's actually a number in front of this k. What number is it? It's a 1. So we have 1 times 4, which is 4, and then we have k times k, which is k squared. So we can simplify that one to 4k squared. Then we have 1k times 2a. 1 times 2 is 2. A times k is going to simplify to 2ak. And then the last one, we have a 1k times 5, which is going to simplify to 5k. So that is actually the final answer there. The question will ask you to simplify or to expand the brackets, and that is what you would look for. I hope that helps, and if not, there are some more support videos that you can have a look at.